Hey, good morning, Motivational Drive-By. Coco here. How you doing? Beautiful day. Today's quote is an Albert Einstein quote. Gravitation is not responsible for people falling in love. He's a funny guy. I like Albert Einstein. I did a whole series of quotes. I did a week's worth of quotes. And I think maybe after I finish this love series, which is probably a month away because I've got over 50, I'm going to go back to Albert Einstein because he has said some unimaginably amazing things. But gravitation has nothing to do with people falling in love. You know, what does? I mean, that's the mystery of all things. What makes two people fall in love? What makes one person fall in love with another person and that other person not fall in love with them? I think to a greater or lesser extent, infatuation or love, people fall in love with the idea of somebody. This is a phenomenon, and unfortunately, some people move too fast from infatuation or falling in love with the idea of somebody, which quickly turns to passion and turns to passion. But they don't give it enough time to actually develop into real love. It's more of a, like I said, I love the idea of you, and I love the idea that we'll live happily ever after. You know, I've seen sitcoms all the time where a guy, you know, meets a woman and he's already planned the next 20 years of their life, or a woman meets a guy and she's planned the next 20 years of his life. I have met people who do that, and I've talked to them, and they don't seem to think there's anything wrong with that, but what winds up happening is you just scare that other person. That's a scary thing. I mean, you know, you just meet somebody and, you know, you've known somebody for 2 weeks and all of a sudden, you know, they're planning the rest of your life. It's like, yeah, not so much. You know, it's really not what you may have in mind. You know, you like them, but, you know, let's give it a year. Let's give it 6 months before we start, you know. But, you know, when people meet and they're lonely, there's often situations like that where all of a sudden people fall in love with the idea of falling in love. Something you have to be aware of. Happens a lot, especially after people are divorced. Soon thereafter people are divorced, they wind up making, you know, going through sometimes two or three marriages, sometimes many relationships, because they have rushed into new ones without fixing all the situations and problems from their first. And that's a whole nother series of issues that always amuses me, that fact that people don't recognize that they have, oh, this is good, I'm in the shade, have to fix themselves, have to fix the problems for the old relationship before they can move on. So, my point in closing this is gravitation is not responsible for people in love. Oftentimes people fall in love for all the wrong reasons, and you know, you've heard of people who there's no reason in the world why they should have fallen in love. They are so opposite, so different, so it's an incongruous situation. Make sure when you start relationships that there's truly a relationship, and once again, you're not infatuated or in love with the idea of somebody. As always, have the most amazing, stupendous day of your life, and we'll talk more tomorrow.